We are here at the start of stage 1 for round 4 of the Tritonshires National Rally Championship. The Lions of Limerick Circuit of Munster Stages Rally marks the halfway point of the championship, and it's all to play for. The weather today could prove some challenging conditions for the drivers. Josh Moffat, top seed here today and winner of 2 of the 3 rounds of the Triton Championship. I'm sure you're looking for a good points haul here as well as you're leading.
I sure am, yeah. Unfortunately, in Monaghan stages, the last round we got a puncture and we dropped some time. So, yeah, we'll definitely be trying to put it back on the pole this weekend.
Donna, a fierce battle again today between yourself and Josh.
Well, here, look, there's Declan there, there's Roy, there's a raft of people that I'd be certainly think are very formidable. But yeah, Josh is the guy on form, so he's certainly the benchmark.
Who knows what it's going to be like at the first stage, but great competition here. Really looking forward to it.
Declan, you'll be trying to get that championship campaign up again today.
Definitely so. Hopefully we have a decent run today, but the looks of it now, the weather's not going to be great, but hopefully it'll dry out later on. It's given dry all day, but typical rain now this morning, but looking forward to a good run.
Clerk of the course, Shane O'Callaghan and his team have set out a spectacular loop of 3 compact stages while building a real competitor-friendly event here at the impressive Lions dealership Complex Limerick.
As a counting round of the top part West Coast Rally Championship, there's massive competition across the different categories at the Lions of Limerick Circuit of Munster Rally. To the action now, and although running first on the road, Josh Moffat wasn't quickest out of the blocks on the opening tests. The championship leader had gear selection issues with his Fiesta WRC and was second best on stage 1 and third on stage 2. The final test went well though, and he was quickest and moved into the overall lead by 4.8 seconds. Donna Kelly was quickest off the mark as he was almost 5 seconds faster than Moffat on the opener. The 2015 champion was just a fraction off the top time on the short second test, but he felt his tyres went off for the long third stage and he slipped to second in the Ford Focus WRC. Declan Boyle was also eager to switch to a harder tyre as he struggled on the long third test. The defending champion was quickest on stage 2 though and was just 4.7 seconds behind Kelly by the end of the opening loop. With conditions quite varied out on the stages, Roy White had some big moments in his Fiesta WRC and found it hard to commit as much as he'd like. He was a further 9.4 seconds back in 4th overall. Currently having a great cut of the Forestry Championship in a Fiesta R5, Cahan McCourt and Barry McNulty were getting some tarmac experience in the Subaru S14 WRC at the Circuit of Munster. They were up to 5th, despite some issues with a slipping clutch.
Long flat 5 right nips, go on the exit. Long flat 5 right nips, line into long flat 5 left. And fast 4 left to keep into very fast 4 right carry. And flat 6 left over crest. And crest, 5 right down the hill. And very fast 4 right then up the hill. 60. And you 60 the fast 3 left into 3. 100 up the middle. Very fast 4 right, keep. Repeat, very fast 4 right, keep on it. And crest 6 chain.
Welsh Manx crew Hugh Hunter and Rob Fagg found conditions tricky with grip levels varying across the stages. They were 6th overall after 3 stages.
3, 2, 1, go.
0.8 of a second further back in 7th was the Toyota Corolla of Kevin Eves. The reigning tarmac modified champion was currently leading the Rally.ie two-wheel drive championship, and despite leading the class again in Limerick, all was not well at the end of the first loop.
4 right, 100. The caution, 1 left, don't cut very tight. 4. 1 left, don't cut very tight. 40. Very tight now. 40. 2 left, 2 left. 4 right, go, 40, overfly and finish. That's you.
I don't know what's happening here, where the oil pressure's kind of flickering about, and we're having smoke blowing out of the breather, so I'd say we mightn't be going any further.
With Eves and navigator Chris Melly retiring at service, another Donegal crew, Paul and Carl Reid, took over the two-wheel drive lead as they made a return to rallying after a break of nearly 4 years. Tying with the Reids after 2 stages, Gary Kiernan and Ryan Moore were one of the pre-event favourites, but they retired their escort on stage 3. There was disappointment also for David Moffat, who only completed 1 stage in his Toyota Starlet before retiring. Former two-wheel drive champion in a Starlet, Declan Gallagher was making an interesting switch for the circuit of Munster, as he explained to Avril before the rally began.
Declan, a change from the Starlet, and you're now driving this beautiful R5 Proton.
Aye, big change from the Starlet now, but look, we're looking forward to it here today now, and hopefully we get a good clean run through it. And you know, the car is exciting. You know, what we're going to use today is a bit of a test. Eugene Donnelly rang me up during the week just to see if we would go in the car, and I have to thank Eugene for giving us this opportunity. So looking forward to it and hope everything goes well now.
Sadly, the debut drive in the Proton R5 wasn't a happy one, as Declan clipped a corner on stage 2 and had to withdraw due to the damage sustained. Leading the R5 class after 3 stages was the Ford Fiesta of Stephen Wright, who was 8th overall with navigator Liam Moynihan. Just 2.3 seconds back in 9th was the Skoda Fabia R5 of Welsh visitors Melvin Evans and Mark Glenister. Former champion Melvin was very impressed with his R5 debut so far.
It's great, you know, fabulous little guy. There's so much in the cornering and the braking and these things. It's just getting ahead into it, you know, compared to what I'm used to with World Rally cars. They haven't got the raw power of the World cars, but fabulous car to drive. Absolutely enjoying it.
3rd in the R5 class was Paul Rowley, back from the States for another event in his homeland. Paul Barrett was eager to get some points on the board after a non-finish at the last round in Monaghan. He was 4th in class after 3 stages. 5th in R5 was the Fiesta of Keith Lyons. Keith and his dad Ken were sponsoring the Circuit of Munster Rally, and before the event got underway, they spoke to Avril outside Rally HQ at their car dealership in Limerick.
Keith, top local crew here today. I'm sure you're aiming for a great result.
Yeah, actually, with all the organising and everything, you know, it's Sunday, so it's time to get on the stage, so we're itching to get going, to be honest with you. Yeah, really looking forward to it.
And you have your dad beside you, Ken Lyons. Ken, you are the sponsor, and also great news that you're a sponsor for the next 3 years as well.
That's right. Keith twisted my hand into this thing, but we're delighted to put something back into the sport. I've competed in this rally for the last 40 years, which I hate to admit because I don't feel I'm 40, but that's the way it is. I've competed in it and I'm delighted the club have done an amazing job. Really put their heart and soul behind it, and we're delighted to have been involved with them.
One of the many head-turning attractions at the event headquarters was the ex-Billy Coleman Escort Mark II of Dan Kelleher.
Dan, this is some machine. Can you tell us a little bit about the brief history of it?
It was Billy Coleman's winning car in 1980 West Cork Rally, and I bought it about 15 years ago off a Ford of Ireland, and myself and my father restored it in, and this is my first day out.
I'd be very afraid to drive a car like this.
Well, she's not trailer queen anyhow. She's meant to be driven, so I'm delighted to have it.
The second loop of stages proved exceptionally competitive, with the front runners knocking chunks off their earlier times. However, despite improving on their morning loop, Josh Moffat and Andy Hayes found their lead cut to 4 seconds flat. Up to joint second after setting fastest time on each of the 3 afternoon stages, Declan and Brian Boyle were much happier with their tyre choice for the second loop. Not so happy were Donna Kelly and Connor Foley. They were having a clutch issue in the Focus WRC, which perhaps caused a lapse in focus at this junction on stage 6. With the front 3 pushing to the limit, 4th place Roy White felt he wasn't brave enough and saw his deficit increase to just over 30 seconds. After 6 stages, it was tight at the top as just 4 seconds separated the front 3 with 3 stages to go.
It's high revs, high octane, and it's full of action here in Limerick at the Triton Shires National Rally Championship. It's Josh Moffat who leads the circuit of Munster, but it's the 2 Donegal men, Donna Kelly and Declan Boyle, who are 4 seconds off the lead. Join us back here for more action after the break.
Welcome back to Limerick for part 2 of the Lions of Limerick Circuit of Munster Rally, the 4th round of the Triton Shires National Rally Championship. Before we find out who emerged with the overall victory from the final loop, let's turn to the class battles now. And in the Junior Class 16 division, runners-up Stephen Reynolds and Derek McCarthy took maximum points for the Triton Championship. As class winners on the day, Kieran Reen and Mark O'Leary, who survived an early mishap in their Honda Civic, aren't registered for the series.
And a 5 right. 6 left, 4 tight, 4 left, tight, 4 left, slippy, and it's 80, and it's 6 right, 200 down, 6 right, 200 down, and 6 left, 140 to a square right gravel at the gate.
In Class 16A, the day didn't start well for Motorsport Ireland Rally Academy driver Colin O'Donoghue. The Ford Fiesta R2 suffered a broken drive shaft on stage 1, but O'Donoghue was able to rejoin under Rally 2 rules to get some good mileage under his belt.
Flat 2 left over crest tightens and caution long 3 right, so 4 right at the junction, Hogan carry into turn 2 left and flat long 2 left, 130, flat 2 right slippy and flat 1 right past the sign, 100, 4 left continues past the lane.
Runners-up in Class 16A, Nigel Roach and Andrew Cronin scored maximum points in the Triton Series, with unregistered crew Jordan Hone and Aileen Kelly finishing as top juniors on the day in their Opel Adam R2.
Yeah, it was a good race now, so we enjoyed ourselves. Good stages and good rally. We really had a good push in some places, and where the grip was good, so we enjoyed it.
In the historic section, Cork's Dan Kelleher and Owen McCarthy were delighted to bring the ex-Billy Coleman Escort RS 1800 to 4th in class. As the highest placed registered crew, Malcolm Pedlow and John Henderson took maximum championship points in their BMW with 3rd in class. Reeling Tarmac historic champion Owen Murphy finished 2nd in class, with Jonathan O'Mahony calling the notes in the Talbot Sunbeam. But taking a start-to-finish victory in the historic class were Luke McCarthy and David Hogan in their Ford Escort RS. To the main field classes now, and taking Class 1 honours were Des Roach and Maria Duane in the Honda Civic. Class 2 provided an enthralling contest where a fine drive in the Renault Clio left local driver John Burns within striking distance of victory going into the final test. A downpour on the stage made surface conditions treacherous, and Burns had to settle for 3rd in class after a time-consuming incident at a chicane.
And 5 right 180 all the way to chicane, right entry, 4 bales. 60. Oh.
5 right long.
Fellow locals Niall O'Connell and Tommy O'Connor had been quickest in class in the majority of the day's stages, but an early overshoot in the Citroen C2R2 and a scratch time from a blocked stage really cost them as they finished in second place. Just 1.1 seconds off class winners Eamon Kelly and Conor Mohan, who had a great drive to take a start-to-finish victory in the Fiesta R2. In Class 3, Keith and Sarah McFadden took the runner-up spot in their Renault Clio and also clinched the Top Part West Coast Championship Drive of the Day award.
Late square left, don't cut the chevron tight.
What is it?
Late square left, don't cut tight.
Right, this is...
And crest. Oh, and crest, well done, keep going. 5 left. And 4 right kink. Finish. Done.
Michael Rogers and Aidan Conley took the Class 3 win in their Honda Civic. Lloyd Hutchinson and Willie Fitzpatrick took their third Class 9 win of the season in their Austin Mini Cooper. It was something of an anniversary for local driver Pat McDonough, who competed in the 1979 Circuit of Munster, a much longer and a far-reaching event back then. 40 years later and he's still at it, progressing from a Mark I Escort to a Mark II, taking third in Class 10 this time around. Darren Fallon and Kieran Droney took second in class in their Peugeot 205 GTI. But taking the Class 10 win was local crew Gordon Draper and Derek Bovenizer in another 205. In Class 11F, Tommy Foley and Cathal Keane took the top spot in their Honda Civic. Class 11R was won by the Toyota Corolla of William Nolan and Shane O'Mahony. In Class 12, John O'Rourke took second place with local man Brian Commons navigating in the Opel Corsa, but scored maximum championship points as class winners Morris and Stephen Meskill aren't registered for the Triton Series. However, the local crew did take the maximum points for the historic class in the Top Part West Coast Championship in their Escort Mark I. More entertainers in a Mark I, Jason Tuchel and Ben Taggart finished third in the Class 13 battle. Aidan Burke and John Kinahan went one place better as they thrilled the crowds in their Escort Mark II. But taking a dominant Class 13 win on their home rally were Sean Moran and Jonathan Keane, who finished 19th overall in their 2-litre Escort. In Class 14, event sponsor Ken Lyons enjoyed his home rally with fellow local Paddy McConnell calling the notes in the 2.5-litre Mark II. JF Shovelin and Emmett Brosnan were left languishing in 66th overall after some drama on Stage 1, but they recovered well to finish third in Class 14 and 20th overall. Mark Dolphin and David Mannion brought their Escort home second in class and 14th overall. Paul and Carl Reid had to nurse their Escort back to service after Stage 6 when the exhaust manifold came off, but they had a trouble-free final loop to take the 2-wheel drive win and finish 9th overall. To the 4-wheel drive classes now, and taking the Class 15 honours were Ian Roach and Anthony Nestor, who finished 11th overall on their home rally. In Class 20, local driver James Murphy had been pushing for a podium spot with navigator John Brennan, but they retired their Ford Fiesta on Stage 6. There was disappointment for Jason McSweeney and Liam Brennan too, who had been leading Class 20 and pushing for a top 10 overall position before the final loop, but retired their Mitsubishi Evo 9. Darren McKelvey and Dean O'Sullivan took over the class lead and finished just outside the overall top 20 in the Mitsubishi Evo 9. In Class 4, the Group N category, Thomas O'Rourke and Thomas Scallon took third place and finished 13th overall after a day-long battle with Michael Boyle and Dermot McCafferty. The Donegal crew finished 7.8 seconds ahead in 12th overall and took second in Class 4. But taking the Group N win with over 15 seconds to spare were Niall Devine and Mac Kearns, who finished 10th overall in the Mitsubishi.
The stages were tricky out there.
Aye, the stage was tricky, especially the last stage. It was very wet and damp for us, but it was enjoyable, so we had a steady run and got through, and thank God we got the Group N1.
In Class 5, Keith Lyons and Niall Burns took 5th place in the Lions of Limerick Fiesta R5. Rebuilding their confidence after a knock at the previous round, Paul Barrett and Declan Tumblety finished 4th in class and 18th overall. Just 2.4 seconds ahead was a similar machine of Paul Rowley and Brian Doherty, who took 3rd in class and 17th overall. Former national champion Melvin Evans enjoyed his R5 debut to finish 7th overall, but had to settle for 2nd in Class 5 with Mark Glenister calling the notes in the Skoda Fabia R5. But taking the Class 5 win by over 12 seconds in the end were Stephen Wright and Liam Moynihan, who finished 6th overall in the Fiesta. In Class 7 for WRC machinery, Martin Kearns and Peter Ward took 5th place and finished 16th overall in the Ford. 4.8 seconds ahead was a Subaru S14 of Kevin Barrett and Sean Mullally, who finished 4th in class and 15th overall.
80, 2 right in and straight crest 100. Right OK 100. Crest continues into right over crest 80, 3 right in.
Welshman Steve Wood was debuting the ex-Darrow O'Riordan Fiesta WRC and took 3rd in class and 8th overall with local navigator Keith Moriarty. Another Welsh driver, Hugh Hunter, took 2nd in Class 7 and finished 5th overall with the Isle of Man's Rob Fagg calling the notes in the Ford Focus. Cahan McCourt and Barry McNulty were happy with their progress in the Subaru S14, taking the Class 7 trophy and 4th overall for their efforts. There was drama on the final loop for early rally leaders Donna Kelly and Connor Foley. Their rally ended on stage 7 when the throttle spring in their Ford Focus broke and jammed open, forcing retirement. Promoted to 3rd place, Roy White and James O'Brien's 4th podium finish of the year saw them maintain 2nd on the overall championship leaderboard. Apart from the unwelcome downpour on the final test, there were no major issues for Declan and Brian Boyle, who took the runner-up spot and were happy with the setup ahead of their home international in Donegal. But after a relatively slow start, Josh Moffat and Andy Hayes took over the rally lead in stage 3 and held it till the end, taking the win with over 20 seconds to spare back at rally headquarters in the Lions of Limerick dealership complex.
Yeah, without a doubt we're over the moon. It wasn't an easy day for sure. Declan and Donna both pushed us very hard all day, so on that last stage there, it got so wet and slippy, we're over the moon for sure to get it.
So there's confirmation of the results at the Circuit of Munster Rally. And as we pass the midway point of the championship, it's Josh Moffat and Andy Hayes who are sitting pretty at the top of the Triton leaderboard.
What a wonderful win here for round 4 of the Triton Shires National Rally Championship. It's Josh Moffat and Andy Hayes that take the win after a ferocious battle with Declan Boyle. Join us in Ravens Rock for round 5 of the championship. From all of us here at the Lions of Limerick Complex and the On The Limit Sports team, thank you so much for watching. See you soon.